Mr. Weinkoff speaking with Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services, and in this video we will be covering the SAT Practice Test 8, questions 21 through 30, Math Section 4. Remember, this video is the fast video, but I also encourage you to look at more of the detailed explanations in the other videos. 21. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the number 3.39 in the context of the problem? So 3.39, I'm going to find up here in terms of my narrative. It says the equation of the line in best fit equals y equals 3.39x plus 46.89, where x is the number of years since 1985 and y is the amount of plastic. Here I see my y, here I see my x. Well, 3.39 is going to be related to the slope, right? Given my y equals mx plus b formula, 46.89 is going to be my initial amount, given the fact that that's what it equals when x equals 0, right? When x, for your y equals mx plus b formula, I see that it is increasing, and I see that it is according to a rate. So I'm going to be skimming my answer choices, and I'm going to be looking for words like per. I'm going to be looking for words like increase, where it kind of like builds upon something of that nature. So the amount of plastic in billions of pounds produced, nope. B, the number of years it took, nope. The average annual plastic production in billions of pounds of the United States from 1985 to 2003, nope. The average annual increase, yes. In billions of pounds, yes. Plastic per year, yes. So D is going to be my answer to question 21. Okay, question 22. Which of the following is closest to the percent increase in billions of pounds of plastic produced in the United States from 2000 to 2003? I hope you remembered that it was from 1985, and I know that the difference between 2000 and 1985 is 15 years, and I know that the difference between 1985 and 2003 is 18 years. So I'm going to slide back up to my graph, or the chart, that way I can see here what's happening. And I'm attempting to look for what is the percent increase. I'm going to go to my 15 years here, and I'm going to go to my 18 years here. And because this is representing 2000, this is representing 2003. Obviously, with increasing, they should be increasing. Here I see that I'm about 100, right? And here I see that I'm about within 2003. This is somewhat in between. I'm going to say it's 110. So 100 going to 110 is a 10% increase. Let me slide back down so that way we can look at the possible answer choices. 10% is A, and A will be my best possible answer choice for question 22. Okay, question 23. The equation above models the number of members M at a gym t years after gym opens. So here's my T representing T years. It looks like it's an increase because it's 1.02. 1,800 will be my initial members, initial amount. M is going to be the total number of members after so many times. Of the following, which equation models the number of members at the gym Q quarter years after the gym opens? Well, a quarter is referring to, so Q quarter years is referring the fact that there are 4 quarters inside of 1 year, meaning that it will be 1/4. So I'm going to look for something in my answer choice that does represent that, because the only thing they're really evaluating is time. Initial and increase will all stay, so 23 will be A, given the fact that it is in quarter years or Q over 4. Question 24. For the finale of a TV show, viewers could use either social media or text messages to vote for their favorite 2 contestants. The contestant receiving more than 50% of the vote won. An estimated 10% of viewers voted overall. That's actually pretty low. And 30% of the votes were cast on social media. Contestant 2 earned 70% of the votes casting using social media, and 40% of the votes cast using a text message. So contestant 2 is obviously more favorable for social media, and that's kind of the only thing thus far we can draw a conclusion from. And 40% of the votes cast using a text message. Okay, they don't mention anything about contestant 1 as well. Based on this information, which of the following is an accurate conclusion? If all viewers had voted, contestant 2 would have won. Not necessarily. All right, 10% of total votes is far too low. Viewers voting by social media were likely to be younger. Nothing about age. If all viewers who voted had voted by social media instead of by text message, contestant 2 would have won. Not necessarily. Viewers voting by social media were more likely to prefer contestant 2 than yes. D is going to be your best answer because he collected 70% of the votes through social media. So 24 will be D. 5 gives me population in Greenleaf, Idaho. I have the table above. It shows the population of Greenleaf, Idaho for years 2000-2010. If the relationship between population and year is linear, meaning same rate, which of the following functions P models the population in Greenleaf T years after 2000? Well, let's take a quick peek. From 2000 to 2010, it looks as though it is increasing 10 years, and from 2000 to 2010 population, looks as though they are decreasing, and they are decreasing. 862 minus 846 is minus 16. Well, my rate then will be minus 16 over 10, which is negative 1.6. I immediately look at my answer choices. This will not be possible. Also, this is combining my 2000 within my year, not necessary because the rate is taking that into account, and it is not 16. A will be my best answer choice for question 25. Question 26, to determine the mean number of children, meaning average, right? That's really what we're referring to. Mean is referring to average number of children per household in a community. Tabitha surveyed 20 families, not that large of a population size, kind of medium, at a playground. That's a huge no-no, okay? So she basically was asking for the household in a community, or average number of children per household in a community, but she only went to a playground. That's a huge bias. She should have went kind of door to door to evaluate each of the families. For the 20 families surveyed, the mean number of children per household was 2.4. That's kind of irrelevant, not that large of a population, also incredibly amount of bias. Which of the following statements must be true? Mean number of children per household in the community is 2.4. Nope. A determination about the mean number of children per household in the community should not be made because the sample size is too small. Perhaps, right? Perhaps this may be the best possible answer choice given. Sampling method is flawed and may produce a biased estimate of the mean number of children per household. Yes, this is very, very true because she went to a playground to conduct a survey when asking the average number of children per household. If she would have gone door to door, that would have been far more representative. And this says the sampling method is not flawed, which it is. So C will be the best answer to number 26. Okay, question 27. In the xy plane, point PR, this is my x, this is my y, lies on the line with the equation y equals x plus b, where b is a constant. The point with coordinates 2p, 5r, this is also an x, this is a y, lies on the line with the equation 2 equals 2x plus b. So I see a relationship here between these two equations using b as my constant. If p is not equal to 0, what is the value of rp? Well, I have two equations. I can substitute in both of these equations. So let's say here I have y equals x plus b, and on this side here I'm going to have my y equals 2x plus b, and both of the b's are the same. So I can plug in these values to get my equations, or new equations, and then rework those equations to solve for b each and set them equal to each other. When I do this, I now have, for my first equation, I will now have my y is going to be my r, and then x is going to be p, and then plus b. My y on this equation is going to be 5r equals 2 times x, which is going to be 4p plus b. I'm going to rework these equations so I get 5r minus 4p equals b. And in this equation, I'm going to have r minus p equals b. Well, once again, remember, b is a constant, so they should be equal to each other. I can set these equal to each other then, and I'm going to say that 5r minus 4p equals r minus p. I'm now going to add 4p to each side, add 4p to each side. I'm doing this to attempt to keep it positive. And I'm going to subtract my r here, subtract my r here to keep it positive. So here I have 4r equals my 3p. I'm attempting to solve for, once more, r over p. So I want to arrange this equation. So I end up getting, let's say I want to divide both sides by p because I want to get r over p. I'm going to cross that out. Now since I want r over p, I'm going to divide both sides by 4 and cross this out. I get r over p equals 3/4, and we are done. So 3/4 should be my answer. 27 is B. Okay, for problem 28, I see that they give me information here, two figures. I'm going to skip that just in terms of time. Let S1 and R1 be the standard deviation. Standard deviation is a calculation of the deviation away from the mean. And range, this is the largest minus the smallest, respectively, of the data before exercise. And let S2 and R2 be the standard deviation and range of the data after exercise. So the S1 and S2 and R2 are referring to the second, and the S1 and the R1 are referring to the first. And I see here immediately that in order to calculate my range, I have 88 minus 56, if I'm referring to my largest minus my smallest, for the prior exercise, this will give me 32. And then 112 minus 80 here is actually going to give me also 32. So here I have 32, 32. So I know my ranges are equal. So these are crossed out. I know it either has to be between A and D. And now I'm comparing my standard deviation. Well, the standard deviation of the first experiment here, I see a large cluster. So there really isn't any standard deviation. And then here I see a lot of variation amongst all of the results that are evident, meaning that they will not have the same standard deviation, and that actually the second one will have a greater standard deviation than the first. So this will be D, and right, making my standard deviations not equal and my range is equal between them, so 28 will be D. Question 29, a photocopy machine is initially loaded with 5,000 sheets of paper, so this is my initial value. The machine starts a large job and copies at a constant rate. After 20 minutes, it has used 30% of the paper. So I'm subtracting something from my initial amount. Therefore, it's most likely not going to be C, not going to be D. Which of the following equations models the number of sheets of paper P remaining in the machine in M minutes after? Now, here it gives me for 20 minutes. So I'm trying to figure out how many sheets does this machine do, let's say, per minute. In order for me to figure that out, well, I need to know what is my 5,000 sheets per 20 minutes. And how much of this do I have left over, right? So I'm going to do 5,000 times 0.3, and this will give me 1,500. And my 1,500 is going to be 1,500 sheets divided by my 20 minutes. And this will tell me, well, what is my proportion if I were to do, let's say, how many sheets am I going to do over 1 minute? Well, to quick do this calculation, cross out some zeros. Here I have my 75 sheets per 1 minute, right? Per 1 minute. So it appears as though B will be my best answer for question 29. For question 30, the complete graph of the function f and the table of values for the function g are shown above. The maximum value of f is k, meaning that this is the highest point that I have on the graph. And my highest point is here. So I see that my x equals, let's say my x equals 4 and my y equals 3. Well, if I were to plug in my y into this equation, right, then if my x is going to end up, so okay, in this instance for f, if f is k, right, and then k is going to be equal to the 3 that we're mentioning, then I'm going to plug this into my other set of values. So if x equals k, right, and if x equals 3, then my g of my x, which is going to be 3, is going to be equivalent to 6, right, when I plug this in here. So if my x here is going to be 3, given the fact of, right, f is k, then my g of x is going to equal 6 total. Therefore, that would make 30b, right, because my g of 3 would equal 6 according to my graph. 30 is b.